Lo-fi. There we go.
Yeah.
We are live. Will Middleton and Kurt Von Ahnen from LifterLMS will be here on any platform you see us, StreamYard, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn, for the next hour, answering LifterLMS pre-sales, getting started, tech support, whatever questions you have, bring them into the comments of the call here, and we'll be answering those. I see we already have some questions in the comments building up, so we'll dive into those momentarily. But anyone who's joining the stream, feel free to let us know any questions you have, and we will kick this thing off. Let's see. So,
Hey,
Yeah.
What did you change?
Oh, what did I change?
Yeah, I can make a comment. Boom! Look at that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I didn't change
in.
it, but this is a webinar. It's a little bit different than a what we usually do with the stream, so that might be it.
Oh, maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm in, because before I had to go to YouTube or Facebook to make a comment.
Yeah.
All right. Well, big welcome to Gina. It looks like Gina's got some questions for us. Before we get into the questions, though, is there anything that we need to chat about? Do we need to talk about anything?
I don't think so. I think
new releases or anything like that?
New releases? Oh, yeah. There's a webinar about private site coming out. Chris is going to do a webinar upcoming about that. Maybe I could get a registration link for that. I don't want to close my StreamYard accidentally. Let me see if I can grab a link to that. There it is. Yeah, May 30th at 9:30 a.m. I'm not sure. I'll just copy the link into chat. I don't know what time zone that is, but we'll say this is the LifterLMS private site webinar. This one's going to be cool. How to use the new LifterLMS private site. Let me make sure that link is good and not. Yep, that's a good link. Anyone checking this stream out and want to learn more about LifterLMS private sites, check out that link on any platform to sign up for that webinar. That's the 30th, which I think is that Monday? Tuesday next week.
I think it's a Tuesday. Yeah. All right. So Gina's here in the audience, and she has put together a LifterLMS WooCommerce website. And, I've seen this question before, and I answer it in kind of a coy way. So I'm totally okay with being corrected on this, Will. When you set up WooCommerce and LifterLMS, you actually set up your courses and your memberships in LifterLMS, and then you build a corresponding product in WooCommerce. So that WooCommerce product that you build actually is how you collect the money, right? That's the cash register. And then you link that product to that access plan. So the access plan is what is in LifterLMS and gives people access to that digital content. And so it's kind of like a latchkey with WooCommerce. So they buy on WooCommerce, that's the cash register. Boom, it's tied to that access plan, and that access plan gives people access to the content. So her question is, and I get this a lot, is then do I need to keep all the stuff that's in my website that's from LifterLMS? Do I need to keep the course catalog? Do I need to keep the membership catalog? Do I need to keep, or can I unpublish those sites? Unpublish those pages. And what people think of is, can I have a lighter site? Can I have, less baggage in my back end? And the way that I usually address this with my clients is, it's not hurting nothing. You don't have to put menus on it to attach it to the front of your website. Nobody sees it if you don't want them to. I would just leave the stuff. I would just leave it. But in theory, things still work even if you delete those pages. So Will, what's your take on it? I say leave it and ignore it, but some people really have OCD about this.
Right. I think leave it and ignore it is a pretty easy thing to do. If you delete them, what I might recommend is having a plugin or some sort of function on the website to redirect 404 pages to the homepage. Because I think there are a couple of functions, I'm trying to remember where exactly they are, that kick you out to the course catalog. So I can't remember where this was, but there's some default behavior in Lifter that takes you to the course catalog, which is, of course, going to be whatever page is designated under LifterLMS settings courses catalog. Whatever that page is, LifterLMS uses that for something. And so it'll just redirect them to the homepage. That way there's no 404 page. I'm trying to think of exactly where that is, because of course in lessons there's a back to course link, and I remember some sort of a catalog redirect somewhere, but
I think somewhere in the dashboard is a link to, like, you know, my memberships, my courses, right? But it's my memberships, my courses. I don't think it's and I think there is one to the course catalog as well. So you would like need to redirect that to the shop page, but I don't know. I know that some people really, really, really just I just want this, and this, but I don't see the harm with leaving the other stuff in there and just not menuing it to the front of the site.
Right. And you can also add redirects on those pages to redirect them other places. There shouldn't really be any problems with deleting them though. There's just one obscure thing I remember seeing one time that might come up. But big picture, there's not really any issues with doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could pop in with a comment or something there, Gina. But I hope that we gave. Oh, she said I can leave it. Thanks. Yeah, because I hate to leave people in a lurch. Like I feel like as a developer or an implementer to tell people, just leave it. It's like it feels like an empty answer, but it's the real answer. So hopefully you understand where that came from.
Yeah. It's really obscure. It's gonna like itch away at the back of my mind about where that redirect is. It's somewhere. It might be in an advanced add-on. Something tries to take you to the course catalog, and I'll come up with it and yell it out at some point. Yeah, we had another question come in. I have an Infinity Bundle, and I'm just starting out with my website. I want to use the SkyPilot theme. I understand it comes with the Infinity Bundle. How do I get it and install it? Well, the SkyPilot theme is a really awesome new theme that you can pick up in your LifterLMS account. If you go to lifterlms.com, there's a little person in the upper right corner, a little human icon. You can click on that, log in, and as an Infinity Bundle member, you'll have a ton of downloads in there. So once you log in, there's like a little downloads tab. If you locate that downloads tab, you'll see all the add-ons you have. And I think SkyPilot's in the theme section close to the top. The Infinity Bundle has so much stuff in it that, like, I think it's near the top is where the themes are, because I have an Infinity Bundle too when I log in there, and I sometimes struggle to locate my downloads. But another way you can do it is if you have your license key, you can go to the back end of your website. Under LifterLMS, there's an add-ons and more section. And under that add-ons and more section, there's a My License Key where you just drop in your license key, and then you can activate all those add-ons from the back end of your website. So there's two ways to get it. You could go to the LifterLMS account and get a download, or go to the LifterLMS account, get your license key, add your license key to your website. And once your license key is added in, you can just download everything from the back end of your website. And we can add a link to that tutorial as well. Add LifterLMS license key. And I'd probably recommend the license key route, because then you'll receive those automatic updates on the back end of WordPress for those advanced add-ons like SkyPilot. Any add-ons you include, you'll automatically receive updates for that.
I want to go a step further, Will. I want to thank John for being an Infinity Bundle member with LifterLMS. I think that's awesome that you jumped in at the full level. And I also want to just remind you to keep your eye on your email, because you'll be invited to the mastermind call that we do on a near weekly basis, where we get professionals from all over the globe that will sign into this call. And sometimes there's 5 people, sometimes there's, a dozen people. But we do this on a near weekly basis. We only miss a couple of weeks a year, and we get together with folks and really talk about all things tech, strategy, or just plain hanging out and edifying each other in our projects. So, John, I encourage you to join into that. And there's some brilliant people in there. Even if Will and I don't have the answer, chances are someone in there has a workaround or an idea or a technique. We talk a lot about integrations and stuff on that call. So I encourage you, man. And again, welcome to the Infinity family. Are you talking to me, or are you just lip syncing over there, Will?
My bad, I was muted. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out.
I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, John said that he can't find the downloads in his account. I took a screenshot of my account. I'm like blurring out my license key and stuff. I think it's
like a weird like menu off to the left, right? It's like license key and then downloads and account and something like it's like you have to go through. like downloads as an option to see.
Right. I found a picture here that I blurred out. I didn't want to like expose my license key or anything, but this is where it is in your account. There's like I didn't actually circle it. It's under information there in the middle. There's a downloads tab. So right under information, I meant to circle it, but instead I just crossed out my license key. But yeah, right there in the, I guess I can modify this live actually.
Go for it. We'd all like to see your number.
There we go. Downloads. So yeah, right there in the downloads is where you'll see just a full list of the downloads available in your account.
And not for nothing, John, if you're new to full site editing, when you put SkyPilot in, it's going to kind of open up that full site editing capability inside your WordPress website. And so you may see some different features that you've never seen before. We did do a SkyPilot live release last week. It was last week, right, Will? And that is linked in the LifterLMS Facebook page. But I'll see if I can find you a link to that as well, and I'll drop that in. Because there'll be some features in there that are going to feel kind of new.
Yeah, the whole concept of templates is a new thing in WordPress. Like it's a new thing to the end user where you can modify your course catalog. And with anything new, like the full site editor, it's super cutting edge. Like I think we're on WordPress version 6.2, and the 6.0 is when this full site editing feature came out. So it's like very new. I don't even know when 6.0 rolled out. 6.0 release. WordPress. It's 24th of May 2022. So it's about a year ago. I'm surprised. I guess it was in the 2023 WordPress theme, which I think came out in the summer. So it is a super cutting edge new technology. So sometimes there can be like bugs with that. One that we're familiar with, that's actually a bug inside of WordPress itself, but would apply to the SkyPilot theme, and we do have a workaround for it, is that when you, I don't remember what it is, a shortcode. So shortcodes are pretty popular in Lifter. You know, there's like a syllabus shortcode to drop in the syllabus in your right-hand sidebar, your course progress, shortcodes like that. And these templates don't actually support shortcodes, since like version 6.2, WordPress dropped support for them. So we found like shortcodes are breaking, and we're like, what's going on? And so it's a big thing in the WordPress community right now, is that WordPress core is trying to break shortcodes and no longer support them as parts of templates, and instead favor blocks. And so developers aren't too happy about that. But if you try to include a shortcode like the syllabus in a template, you might just see it display the shortcode on the front end and be a little bit confused. But what you have to do is create a template part. A template part is just like a header, a footer. You can even make your own. I would just call it like course sidebar or lesson sidebar or whatever. And then include your shortcodes in your template part. So you basically build a little, I could probably do a demo of this too. This might be a little bit confusing, but once we figured out the workaround, it's super simple. We'll pull up one of my demo sites that I keep breaking. Hopefully I don't have anything too broken on this site. We'll open up dashboard, share screen. So I'm using Master here. Let me switch over to SkyPilot. And I don't think I actually have much set up on this demo site. Quick start course. Let's see what this looks like. Hopefully I can get the issue to happen. Yep, there it is. So this is the issue that is in like the WordPress core that affects all full site editing websites. And so what you would do to fix this one is open up the full site editor in a new tab here. This is the new interface. Instead of customize up there at the top, we're used to seeing appearance customize. Now we have edit site instead. And so what I want to do is check out my template, and this is my lesson template. This is inside of a lesson where I'm seeing this. Single lesson, where we have these shortcodes. So what we're going to want to do is, instead of including the shortcodes in the lesson, single lesson, I'm going to take, let me just write these shortcodes down. I'm going to put them in my header, my URL bars, to save those for a second. All right, so I'm going to go out of here. Instead of a single lesson, including the shortcodes there, I'm going to create my own custom template part. So I'm going to go to template parts, add new. I'll just call it lesson sidebar. Great. And then what I want to do is drop in my 2 shortcodes in this template part. So this is just like a part of an item that you can drop into other templates. Let's just duplicate this thing. Progress. So I guess progress should go on top. There we go. So I have my template part. It's literally just 2 shortcodes and that's it. But now I can go back out. Now that I've created my lesson sidebar, I can drop back into that lesson template, wherever it was, single lesson. I'm going to edit. And full site editing, I always recommend, and block editor in general, this list view up here at the top. List view is super useful for understanding what's going on the page. Like when you highlight over this stuff, it's like it hovers in blue, but sometimes you click on something and it might click on something else. But here on the list view, it shows you really cleanly what's going on. So these are the 2 shortcodes over here in the second column that I want to remove. Remove that one and remove this one. And I want to put something else here. I want to put in a template part. So I'm going to look up the template part block. Okay. Oops. Back over here. So I have a template part and I'm going to choose my template part. It's going to be this one I made, the lesson sidebar. Save, and then that should fix this. There we go. So by wrapping the shortcodes, instead of just dropping a shortcode into this, for some reason you have to create a template part. But creating a template part is not too hard. You can see we also have a header and footer template part on this page as well. But that's going to be the single lesson template option there. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that little caveat when working with a full site editing theme. There's now the concept of like full site editing doesn't like shortcodes, but here's a workaround for you.
We were talking about that on another podcast today, Will, and it was like interesting that people pointed out that it's the blocks in the full site editing and the blocks on the front side of Gutenberg, they're not the same blocks. They're obviously different blocks.
Right. Do you mean like some blocks are not supported in the site editor? Like, for example, there's a block for LifterLMS syllabus, for example, is one of the blocks. And so the question is, why don't we just drop the syllabus block over there on the right-hand side? And I think that's a feature request in LifterLMS. Right now, our developers are like, yeah, now that full site editing is a very popular thing, what we're going to do is just allow support for the blocks inside of the full site editor, and we'll be good to go. But I don't think that project's gotten done yet. But that's a solution as well, so you'll be able to have the syllabus block inside the full site editor, so you won't even need to mess with shortcodes at all. But a lot is unfolding with WordPress 6.2, the full site editor, LifterLMS, SkyPilot. A lot of awesome new stuff on the horizon. I know, Kurt, I don't know how many sites you've built now with the full site editor. I know it's at least one, and every week I feel like I hear you got a new project going with it. The SkyPilot.
SkyPilot's on 2 of my projects right now. And then as far as the full site editing block editor goes, I have another project that I'm doing that's not on SkyPilot. And then like 3 or 4 other projects right before that are all Gutenberg. I left them in blocks, but they're not full site editing themes. Mm-hmm. But just listening to the 2 of us have that conversation, just talking about that. Imagine customers coming in off the street, right? And then they're like, I don't know how to change my header. And you're like, well, are you in Elementor? Are you in blocks? Are you in full site editing? You know, did you use some other kind of block builder? Are you? It's like you have to know 5 or 6 different ways to try and communicate these things. You know, are you in full site editing? Are you in the standard Gutenberg? Was it part of a template? You know, was it something that you built yourself? There's a lot going on right now. And to your point, pardon me, you just said, you know, there's a lot going on right now. And there is. It's like, it's really weird to talk to other professionals in the space and to see where people are focusing their attention.
Right. And like you just mentioned, I'll pull up an example of that. Let's open up my demo site again. The idea of editing a menu is very different. Like you said, in what theme you're using, what template you imported. if you're using like Elementor or Divi's theme builder, that means that your header might be built in the page builder itself. But in SkyPilot and WordPress, any WordPress full site editing theme, if you're using this thing for your header or for your menu, for example, in my case, I have a menu up here in the header, and you could put a menu anywhere you want. I mean, if you wanted to add a navigation menu inside of your post, you could do that too, but most people don't do that on their sites. So it's really cool with the blocks, though. If for some reason you had a client or you wanted to put a menu on your sidebar or under your post title, you could do that. But mostly people are going to be putting their menus in the headers. Like I have here, we have a header template part, and you can see I'm editing like the header up here at the top. Is a single lesson. I'm editing the header for it. I drop down here, I'm editing the single lesson footer or the main single lesson content area. So these purple coloring here indicates that I'm editing one of my template parts. So it's a little bit more important to understand that this template part might apply in more than one place. For example, my lesson sidebar is only included here in my lesson template because I just created it and put it here, but the header is included in a couple of my templates. So it's like my page template has it, this template has it. So if I edit it on my lesson, it's also going to change somewhere else on my pages. If I didn't want that to happen, I could create like a lesson header and then put it on my lesson template. And I guess, is that going to make sense how you can create custom templates yourself and apply them in various places?
Well, I think it does the way that you describe it. I think I just have to be very realistic. I don't think a lot of people describe it as simply as you do. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to pander, right? It's just like there seems to be a certain currency in certain professionals that try to make it more complicated than it really is, and it helps justify some extraneous value somewhere, you know? And it's like, no. At the end of the day, we just want to help people get to, you know, what's your minimal viable product and how quickly can you get there, you know, in this space.
Right. And so here I have my header template part, but if I did want to replace this and have a different header on my lessons, I could do that. All I would need to do is create a new template part and then add it in. So let me go back out to my template part. I have a header here. This is my site header, and we can see header. If I go back out, if I go back to templates and I go to pages, for example, this header should be on my page template too. Where's page? There it is, page. Edit this. We'll see that same header block in list views right here. But if I wanted to create a lesson specific header, I could do that by jumping out to template parts, clicking the plus button. We'll call this one lesson header. And then it's a general template, or I'll make it a header template. There we go. Great.
And I love having a simple lesson header because it makes it more like a distraction-free area. Like, how do you get home, or how do you log out, or like that? Like, just make it simple.
Right. So we'll do maybe like a. This is a demo. So do I have anything cool in my media library? I don't have any cool logos or anything. This will be my logo, the WooCommerce placeholder. So imagine that's my logo. And then over here, we'll have a, I don't know, my account. My account isn't a thing. It'll be a button. It will say return to my account. And I'm already kind of getting lost here myself. This is a good example of where this list view comes into play really nicely. This looks like a simple page, you know, 2 columns and everything. But if I open the list view, we can really see what's going on. I have a columns block. I have my 2 columns. One of them has an image in it, and one of them has a buttons block, and that buttons block contains a button. It's a little bit confusing to me that like there's a buttons block and you can have multiple buttons inside of one buttons block. You know, I've run into this before where I'm in the middle of the page trying to click on edit the button or whatever, and it takes me to the buttons block. Like I click on this button, but I click out here and I'm back over to the buttons block. That's why I love this navigator on the left, because it makes it really simple for me to find the settings I'm looking for. That's why I really like this list navigator. It makes everything just so simple.
When you are in a starter template site through like Astra, sometimes you'll go to delete a button, and all of a sudden you got two buttons that pop up that still need to be formatted, right? And you're like, well, where did those two buttons come from? And you're like, delete, delete, delete. Where's all the stuff coming from? So it's cool that when you look at it this way, you can actually break it out on the navigator and go, okay, this is where this crap is, and this is what I need to do.
Right. Let me put here. Let's put a spacer on top. I noticed my my button was kind of like closer to the top, so I'm going to drop a spacer up there. Let's see. So I saved my template. So if I'm happy with this, I actually should let me go back out. I need to link up to my account. I wrote my account in a button, but it doesn't link to anything. So make sure to drop a link here in my button, and then there we go. Save. So now that I've created my custom lesson header, I can leave my template parts area. We can see I've got lesson header now as an option. And if I go into templates and I go over to lessons, single lesson, I can edit this thing. And then what I want to do is I don't want to use this header as a part of my lesson template. We'll just go ahead and remove it. And then the header, yeah, drop in a header. Goes up top. Why isn't this? There it goes. I'm going to choose my lesson header. All right, cool. So now I have my lesson header applied. So lessons are now going to be using a different template than the rest of the website. So we can see, I guess I'll go on the front end of the website. This is the header we were used to seeing that applies to pages. But if I go into my course catalog, go into my quick start course, and go into a lesson, we'll see a new header as a part of my lesson. There we go. So now I have the lesson header up here where I can return to my account, and there's my logo all the way in the right corner. If I wanted to mess with that a little bit, maybe we want to center align this. How do I align my image columns? And I'm still getting used to these options as well. Maybe drop some padding on my column, drop some styling options here as well. That's not really what I want. And one thing that's actually really interesting for formatting in these full site editing themes is the group option. We can group individual blocks. Here, each block has an option to group it. Now, this was a little confusing to me the first time I saw it, so I just created a group. My image is in this group, and that's all that's in the group. But what's nice about this is that it gives me some additional settings over here on the right. So I can mess around with justification of content. I can mess with enrollment visibility of items in this group. I don't need enrollment visibility here, but what did I want to do? I wanted to mess with my padding for the group. I want to do padding on the left. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to put some padding on this group. So this group has 4 padding. I don't know what that is. 4 pixels, 40 pixels. 40 pixels of padding on the left now. So that's going to just move it in from being in the corner. It's a little bit more in line with my content. And if I was doing this like really professionally, I would make it line up with my actual content. But this is just an example of creating a header. We could really spend all day kind of tweaking this. Like, for example, my template part that includes the sidebar over here, my lesson sidebar, I might want to actually drop a spacer in here. I put a spacer below this. I'll put a 10 pixel spacer. Save changes. Reload. Just to put some space. 10 pixels might not be enough. Maybe I want to do 20 pixels or 30. But really getting your hands on with the full site editing theme and just kind of playing around with what can be done is really my top recommendation for learning these. And you see, I'm kind of discovering new features now as I go. I'm going to put another spacer on top to move my progress bar down a little bit. But just working with the blocks in order to customize the front end of the website is a super new way of thinking about things. Oh, that's not good. The more you talk, the more worried I get. Will SkyPilot work out of the box, or I'm going to need to run into some technical issues? The only like technical issues with WordPress 6.2, the shortcode issue where you need to create a template part, like I did in the tutorial there. That's not something that we can fix at Lifter. Unfortunately, that's something in the WordPress core that just kind of is the way it is. We've commented on the thread about, um, you know, pushing WordPress to make this. Full site editor support shortcodes again, but we'll also be coming out with blocks as well. But as long as you can work with the template parts and um, drop your shortcodes into a template part, you'll be good to go.
Well, and I want to jump in on something else there, Will, and that is what Will's describing is something that is really, really rare. And in the 17 years that WordPress has been around, it hasn't really been an issue, right? But like some core functionality out of the WordPress core was removed when they did this latest update of full site editing model. And it didn't take long for WordPress to fix it. According to WP Tavern, they restored the shortcode support with WordPress 6.2.2. And so there was a whole kind of like misunderstanding about how shortcodes could have been a security breach and things like that. It's a technical end of that, but it's not a SkyPilot theme issue. It was a WordPress issue, and it was a WordPress issue for everybody that had a full site editing capable theme. And then it didn't take WordPress long at all, to get on track and make the repair to that. So I can't encourage you enough. Like I said, I dove into the SkyPilot ahead of time. I got a pre-release copy to put into one of my sites, and I just like the lightness of it. I like the white space. I like the high contrast between the background and the fonts, and it just works. It just is a really, really good LMS focused theme. So I like that. My other choices are Astra and Cadence. Those are my two that I generally use when I'm not using SkyPilot. And I'm actually getting a little heavier in the Cadence side.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't even realize that the 6.2.2 release fixed this this issue there. Yeah, that's awesome. That's good to know. Looks like the shortcode. Oh yeah, and I remember there was another thing where WordPress with the new release of shortcodes dropped in like some extra spacing with some paragraph tags. I'm just used to arguing with developers about various like small features. 622 tried Cadence and tried a starter template and hated it. Yeah, I do like the starter templates in that they make the site build really fast, but you can't really change a lot if you you have to learn how to use that whole customizer editing interface, appearance customize and then header, and there's like a whole nested thing going on in that customizer if you want to change the stuff that's in your demo site.
Everyone's different, John. It's all based on use case for me. I know for me and my clients, I meet with them and I gauge like, hey, are you a design from scratch person, or are you run what you brung customer? And in a lot of cases, we start out with a starter template and then build from there. A lot of cases go that way, but I have had a few that were custom builds, and when you start with a fresh theme and you put your own elements in, it just feels cleaner. It just feels lighter, cleaner, and more direct.
Yeah, but there is a little bit of a learning curve to that full site editor that I was just showing on screen. Like once you know how to locate that list view in the upper left and get comfortable with editing the templates, like I was doing just right there on the screen, this edit site button. If you spend some time exploring the edit site button, check out the templates that are available. Most of these I haven't even touched, like 404 page. This is something you usually see, 404 page not found. You can now edit this. You could put a picture on here, something whimsical, whatever you want to do is now exposed as a WordPress user if you wanted to edit that. I've never done that. But there's just a lot more options that are available. And primarily at LifterLMS, we talk about single lesson, single course. That's really it. I just edit the single course and single lesson template. Those are the only two that I've really spent time editing. Like there's the idea of distraction-free learning too. That's another one that we've done a tutorial on a few times. If I go to single lesson and edit this, the distraction-free learning setup is just remove the header, remove the footer, and then you're done. So now it's distraction-free because all we have here is our post content. It's kind of a neat setup. I just deleted the header and footer from my lesson template. And now if I go over to a course, into a lesson, now we have a no header, no footer. It's just the content itself. So that's a really cool feature of being able to drop the header footer, and now it's distraction free. Like that used to be a feature of a theme. Like a theme would have to code that all in from scratch, but now as a user, if you want a distraction free learning setup, you can just do it, which is a lot of fun. Let's see, we probably had some, we got about 20 minutes left. We probably have some good questions in the YouTube comments or Facebook group. Let me check the YouTube comments first. That's the area I sometimes don't get to. Got to sign in. I see a promotion about the private site add-on. You've got comments. Here we go. So I don't know if this is, oh yeah, this is 6 days ago. So yeah, we didn't hit this one. I'll drop this into the StreamYard comments so we can highlight it. Let's see, this is a question on one of our streams from last week. Was which plugins do I need for a new course selling platform, and how could I protect courses from downloading? Is there an app for LifterLMS as well? So sort of 3 questions here with a platform for selling courses. LifterLMS serves as kind of a platform for selling courses itself. And I assume what the question is here is how to create a course marketplace style setup. Take this box of blackberries away from my cat. So yeah, like you can create and sell courses, of course, with LifterLMS and any LifterLMS payment gateway integration, WooCommerce, Stripe, or Authorize.net, or PayPal. But for allowing others to create courses on your website, there is an instructor role in LifterLMS where you can create a new user in WordPress and give them the instructor role where they can come onto your course site and publish courses as well. There aren't really course marketplace capabilities built into LifterLMS out of the box. A lot of times in course marketplace setups, people want automatic commissions and payouts and all this kind of stuff. And Lifter doesn't have that as a feature of the instructors by default. That would just have to be manually accounted for with like number of sales and all this kind of stuff for individual courses and paid out manually on the back end. But there is a tutorial how to build a LifterLMS site like Udemy that Chris put together. This was like, it might have been two years ago, but it still works. It's still a good process. If you wanted to use WooCommerce, I believe he uses Doken Marketplace. He uses like 3 or 4 products in the LifterLMS ecosystem to put this Udemy style site together. Now, people are still coming to the back end of WordPress in his tutorial, and I could probably find that actually. The Udemy video, I'll drop a link to that. Udemy LifterLMS. How to create a course marketplace website like Udemy. I'll drop this in the comments. I'll drop it on all destinations. Create a site like Udemy. And so I'd recommend checking out that video, jumping to the end of the video and seeing what result Chris has put together. Because at the end, he does like a tour of like, this is what my site looks like. This is what it looks like for a user interacting with it. That one is worth checking out. But users still go to the back end of WordPress to create courses and everything. It's not like a streamlined create course solution. For like when you go to Udemy and you create a new course as an instructor, there's like this flow you go through where it asks you for your course title, your course description, and everything. In this case, with LifterLMS and Udemy style setup, you would be creating courses just like an instructor does in the back end of WordPress. Oh, and Kurt, I guess, do you have a course marketplace example?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about it, so we might as well just show it. And I forget, am I muted? I can't tell. There I am. Okay. So the way that it works, here's the marketplace, kind of homepage. There are courses. You can do group enrollment, which is kind of a manual process to let people buy in groups. And then you have the My Account page. Everyone gets a dashboard, and then instructors. And so the way that it is set up is there are additional plugins in the website that help you run a vendor setup. And so you could become a course creator, which is when someone clicks on that, it's going to take them to a form that they can fill out. And so they can either log into their vendor account or they can register to become a vendor. So that's kind of how that whole thing works. Once you approve them to become a vendor, their user capability gives them the ability to add their courses and market their courses through your site. And then your site actually gives people your site gives people their commissions, right? And so you can set it up to do a revenue split. So like in this case, I did a sample for vendor tutorial, and it just basically, it's just a sample course that I put right here. I'll run through WooCommerce. Anybody can come to the site and make a purchase. When somebody makes that purchase, a certain percentage goes to the course creator and a certain percentage stays with the site host. And it's just a real clean way of doing things. It took some work to set up, but it works well.
Awesome. And to the second part of the question here, how do I protect courses from downloading? LifterLMS does have an inbuilt feature where you can just click a button in the back end of WordPress, and I'll highlight that feature as well, because that's something that most people don't see, but most LifterLMS users would probably like to turn on, is the content protection features. If I jump to the back end of WordPress, take off out of the full site editor, under LifterLMS settings, there's this content protection option, prevent users from copying website content and downloading images. When this is turned on, I'll save changes, and a user tries to copy and paste, if they were to try to copy and paste my title or copy and paste my course description or highlight and copy anything from my website, it'll just say copying is not allowed is what's put onto their clipboard. So when they go to paste, it just says copying is not allowed. Super useful feature. And then unrestricted preview access. I'm an administrator on the website, so it doesn't affect me or any of these other roles that are listed here. But you could remove roles. If you don't want instructors copying and pasting either, you could do that. So only administrators can do it. But the content protection features are super useful. So that's my best recommendation for content protection. Of course, students can get creative. They can look at the source code. They could use Chrome extensions. They could just take out their phone and record their screen if they wanted to. If someone's really going for the content, they could get it. But there are security measures you can take, like this checkbox here in LifterLMS, or like using a video host like Video Cipher is a popular one for people who really want to lock down their content. I remember a funny story of one of our users who works with Video Cipher trying to show us their Video Cipher in use, and they couldn't show it to us because it was just a black screen. They were in Zoom trying to share a video, but Video Cipher knew that they were trying to share their screen, so it wouldn't play the video for us. And it was just kind of a funny thing where they have all kinds of content protection features. They're one we recommend for high security Video Cipher. I'll put a link to that here in the chat. Secure video hosting. It's probably the securest video hosting that I've ever seen. I just go with Vimeo Pro. That's my recommendation. It's Vimeo Pro for me. Has nice branding, security features, but for people who really want to lock things down, for Video Cipher. I wrote Super Video Cipher. I was going to write Super Great Video Host. Super Video Cipher. It is a super service. And is there an app for Lifter as well? There's not an app for LifterLMS at the moment to create an app. I know App Presser is one way. I believe on their website we have an app.
Was that Site Presser or App Presser?
This was a App Presser.
Gotcha.
I'll stop screen, share screen. This is my recommendation for App Presser, LifterLMS, with creating an app, a mobile app with an LMS website. I don't even see a lot of uses of mobile apps. It's just a lot of times it's more trouble than it's worth to go through adding a whole application to your tech stack. Sometimes I'll see people use a companion app because really what they're looking for is distribution through app stores like the Apple App Store, Google Play Store. So by creating a simple app that does not include any LMS components, it's basically just like a link tree of links to resources around your brand. It could link over to your website. It could link to other resources in your community. Sort of treating it as a link tree is probably my recommendation. If you do want to create an app for distribution purposes, that's my top recommendation, is just using it for that. Yeah, that was a question there, and I'll type that out in the YouTube comments here, because this was someone who isn't joining us live. But I'll highlight another comment here as well. And I guess, Kurt, I don't know if you can speak to this one while I type out the comment on the previous one, and that is, do you offer any consultation? So what kind of services and support does LifterLMS offer in the LMS space, and where can people go?
I can expand on it, but sometimes I sound mean. I think about what we're doing right now, Will, and I think about all the other plugin companies that don't do what you and I are doing right now. Right. So here we are, consulting, answering questions. What theme do you like? What, you could ask us what's a good host. We could give you links and referrals and all that kind of stuff. So from a consultation standpoint, yes, we're here. We help with that. In our support structure, that's more about like, is the plugin not working? Is there a configuration issue? Is there an integration issue that you're having with one of our integration partners? Well, then you fill out a support ticket, and we respond to that support ticket as quickly as we can, of course, in line with other support tickets that might come in. At the end of the day, it's all about customer service. So when you listen to podcasts by other podcast creators and they're talking about LMSs on WordPress or just plugins in WordPress in general, when LifterLMS comes up, you generally hear that it's because of the customer service that we've done as well as we have in the marketplace. I started out as a customer. I can't remember how long it's been now, Will. I think it's 6 or 7 years. I think it's 7 years ago. I started out as a customer, and then over time I grew a relationship with Chris, and Chris invited me to the team. So yeah, that consultation is there. Now, if you need consultation that is deeper than that, if you need someone to actually help you build your website, or you want to hire somebody to actually, build your project for you, we do have a link at our website that is /experts. So if I put that in the link, I'll put it as the full link in here, lifterlms.com /experts. Okay, and then I'll share that to the main screen. If you go to that, you'll see a list of providers in there. I'm a contractor with LifterLMS, so I'm in that list. There's a guy named Dale that's in that list. Is Susie in the list, Will? I think Susie's in the list too. Susie's fantastic. She's up out of Canada. And then, so that's like, you look on that list and you say, okay, who offers the services or provides what I'm looking for? I know that when I've seen Will work with customers, and he does a similar thing that I'll do sometimes, and that's maybe they don't want us to actually build the site for them. Maybe they need someone to just kind of do a screen share and walk them through some things and give them some more confidence. That's something that a lot of providers might be able to do with you. But if you're back on the, I need a specific task or a specific thing done, Codable it's linked in all of our emails that come out of LifterLMS. And Codable is a wonderful source of a huge network of professionals. And they have a bidding process for how they take on separate jobs. So in some respects, sometimes it's more budget friendly and quicker to go through a source like Codeable, which is Codeable, Codeable. And they're a fantastic source for getting a quick thing done. I'm sure they do more. I say a quick thing done, right? But it's like they can do small to big, whatever you need to do, they can do. But remember, we also have a full list of experts that can, really help you with a full site build and maybe get a closer relationship with you.
Right. Yeah. Codeable is a solution that I recommend for people who are going to dive into any kind of custom coding or custom features. That's usually when I go to Codeable. But I'm sure they could help with other items too, or even just make recommendations. The nice thing about LifterLMS and Codeable is that we have a coupon that you get for, I believe it's like, usually it's like a $59 or $69 call or something like that, but you get the 50 or 60 bucks off. So for only $9, you can get a free 1 hour, or it's not free. For $9, you can get a free thing. No, it's like a $9 for a 1 hour consultation. That would usually be like 59 or 69 bucks, but for $9, you can get a 1 hour call with one of the Codeable experts about your project. So if you're trying to develop a custom feature in LifterLMS, that's the number one place to start is lifterlikes.com/Codeable. I'll put a link to that in the chat.
I have a link. I'm sorry, I already copied the link from the page. So I'll just put it right here. Always faster. You're always faster than I am, Will. That's not even fun anymore.
Young
people.
Yeah. That one, that's what'll get you that discount though, is that clicking through the lifterlikes.com/Codeable. It's like a referral program. So instead of us getting a commission from Codeable for referring people, we pass that commission to you to get that discount on that first call as a LifterLMS user. And so a lot of times people are 95% happy with what LifterLMS has out of the box. They can take them 90 to 95% of the way on their project, but there's still a little bit left of what they want to do. Maybe they want a custom reporting feature or a custom notification that's not in LifterLMS, or something custom that would require a little bit of custom coding, like maybe a short code on a certificate. That was a popular example in our community where someone wanted an image to be printed on a certificate based on a custom field. So LifterLMS has a custom field option in the Infinity bundle where you can create custom fields when people sign up, like a checkbox or radio buttons or custom text, whatever you want people to enter. And in this case, it was a radio button that said, like, what company do you work for? And then based on what the user selected, they would get a custom logo on their certificate for that company. So the company wanted their logo on the certificate based on whatever the user said. And so that was an example where Codeable was a perfect solution for that project. LifterLMS doesn't have that feature out of the box, but the Codeable expert was able to come up with like a little project layout and put that whole thing together for the client. They were super happy with how it turned out. Basically, what they did is they added some functionality. So when people sign up with a certain it's not a checkbox, a radio button on their sign up form, it would store an image on their user profile, and then that image is what would get printed on the certificate. So the expert took that extra mile of allowing image support for custom fields on a user profile and then printing via a short code on the certificate whatever the user's picture was, which was the logo for their company. Basically, like in WordPress, there's user meta. There's users, right? Like if I have a WordPress website, there's users on the back end, and each user has an email and password, and they also have other meta like first name, last name, bio, address. There's some other items that pertain to the user, and you can create custom user meta like user company. That's not something that currently exists in the WordPress setup, but with LifterLMS custom fields, you can create that. So when you create a custom field and say, what company do you work for, you can store that on the user's profile. So each user will have a field that says, what company do you work for? And in this case, there was company logo. That was another user field for the user. And then we stored a logo on that based on what the user submitted in their sign-up form. And then that company logo is what ended up getting printed on a certificate. So it's super kind of an interesting way to put that whole thing together. But that's where Codeable can come in very useful. I definitely recommend that.
Right on.
And we are coming here to the top of the hour. Let's see if I have any other questions in the Facebook group. We didn't really dive too deep into the group here. There's the WP Tonic show. Chris is live with Donata and Hans from Termageddon. That's another great service, Termageddon. I think lifterlikes.com/Termageddon is live. lifterlikes.com/Termageddon. Yeah, that is. Let's drop that in the chat as well. Privacy policy and terms of service. Sometimes when I type, like, I can type perfectly the first time, and this time I have like 6 typos in what I just wrote. Privacy policy and terms of service. That's what I want to type. Generating a privacy policy and terms of service for your website can be super intimidating. Like, it's a lot of legalese that goes into it. And I've done this in the past, which is where you go to someone else's terms of service that has a similar business to you, and you just kind of copy it and modify it for your business. But that's not really the best way to go. Really, the optimal way to go is to hire legal experts to create you a custom terms of service and privacy policy for your use case, based on where you're selling, what you're selling, and where you're located, and all the laws that would apply to you. But that can cost thousands of dollars to have legal experts do that for you and take all these things into consideration and write everything up. It's just an expensive process. So Termageddon took that process and built a tool that can help automate a lot of that, even as items update or as laws update. Termageddon allows you to throw a short code on the back end of your website for your service page and your privacy policy page, and then fill out information about your company, and it's automatically generated and updated over time. So that's a super, super duper useful resource. And I think it's only about $10 a month. Last time I checked, it was like a $10 a month service to have and of course, having a legal expert review it is suggested and advised, but that really takes you, in a lot of cases, 80 to 90% of the way of having just a perfect terms of service privacy policy. Definitely recommend checking them out. It's just a massive leap forward in your business to make sure you're protected in that way. And John in chat, I use Rocket Lawyer online as well. I haven't used that service myself. That one might be worth checking out as well. Link to that in chat. Where are legal documents? I've never worked with that one, but that one's here at RocketLawyer.com. Cool. Well, we are at about the top of the hour. I don't know, Kurt, is there anything else you wanted to make sure we highlight or share while we're here?
I was trying to think of how to sing Rocket Lawyer like Elton John, but it's not coming together.
Oh yeah, like Rocket Man. Yeah, too many syllables.
Rocket Lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Protect and will while you still can.
Yeah, that's so check out that podcast. They actually were doing a podcast. I think it's happening right now, or it happened a couple minutes ago. Me and Kurt could go jump in there.
Don't you dare miss it.
Yeah, I guess it's over, so you missed it. But it's in the Facebook group. It's on the YouTube channel. We'll be promoting it soon. Awesome, but we'll sign off for today. Will Middleton and Kurt Von Ahnen from LifterLMS. Let us know in the chat, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever you see us, any comments you have or questions, and we'll dive into those next time we're live next week. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend.